morning, my friends. Welcome back to my practically imperfect life. If my disheveled appearance and the fact that I'm still wearing my Europe trip shirt doesn't give you any hint, we just got home from our trip to Europe. And so today I thought would be a great day in the life, kind of a after trip reset. And I'm a bit, I don't know, I feel a bit funky because of the time change. Where we were at, most of the trip, we were 6 hours ahead of home. So it is 6:30 in the morning here, and it feels like lunchtime. But yesterday just really goofed with my body clock. We we had to be at the airport in Munich, Germany at 8 a.m. yesterday. Um, so 8 a.m. Munich time, which would have been about 2 a.m. here, and we needed all 3 hours that we gave ourselves to check in for our flight because that airport was so disorganized. So by the time we got checked in, got through security, we barely were at the gate in time to get on the flight. And then we landed at London Heathrow, which is enormous. It's absolutely enormous. And you have to go through security all over again if you have an interconnecting flight. So long wait through security again, barely enough time to grab a sandwich. We get to our gate to board, and then our flight was delayed by almost an hour. And then it was a 9-hour flight home. And then they announced as we were landing that, about 100 pieces of luggage were left behind in London. We have a flight of over 400 people, and they waited to the very end, of course, to tell us that. So then everyone's rushing down to the carousels, trying to make sure that all in our party of 30 got their luggage, which we did, thank goodness. But then it was getting a shuttle or a taxi back from the airport to where we had parked long term, and then the drive home. And it was about 4 hours to get home driving. And so, and I drove the whole way home. Had to drop my friend who went on the trip with us off at her house, and then got home. And then at that point, it was just weird because, like I kind of slept on the flight home from London a little bit. Oh, sorry, I had to sneeze there. Anyway, so where was I at before I sneezed? Okay, so I drove the way home. I had slept a little bit on the flight home from London. I think I napped for like 2.5 hours total out of the 9. But it was just, it was kind of weird because, as you're doing that long flight, it starts to feel like a certain time during the night from what you're used to. But then, it was like 7:30 Chicago time when we landed, but then Chicago is an hour behind where we live. So it was like 8:30 home time, and then driving home. It's just weird. Like my body's really not sure what time it should be. Not sure. So I came home and I started laundry, and I'm really excited because all of my laundry is either in the washer or the dryer from the trip, with the exception of what I'm wearing. And then Emma's going to throw her stuff in next. But anyways, I thought maybe like a reset day in the life might be kind of fun, to just kind of show you what we have to do after being gone for a long time. My husband was home, yes. So, like the basics kind of continue to get done, but there's like husband clean, and then there's mom's version of clean, and there's just we have to get all of the stuff unpacked and put away and sorted through. I have missed my garden so bad. I had a garden sitter, and she sent me pictures. I was like that weird mom, who wants like pictures of her pets every day while she's gone. I was like, send me pictures of the garden. So I'm excited to walk through it this morning and see how everything's doing. I did not ask her to do like weeding, just fertilizing and spraying bugs and watering and stuff. So I know I'm going to have to do some significant weeding today, hopefully before we get the rain that's predicted. I had to go pick up the dog. He spent the last 2 weeks at the kennel that we use. It's a fantastic like outdoor nature kennel. They spend a lot of time in play yards and do nature walks and stuff. And that was just because my husband works so many days during the week, and he's gone for so long during the day. I didn't want the dog to just be home alone all day doing nothing. So he got a special perk, but we got to pick him up. My son spent the whole week at his grandma's, so pick him up today. I haven't seen him. So that'd be exciting to get him home. And then basics, like there are no groceries in this house. I looked a little bit last night. My husband did not do any grocery shopping. I'm pretty sure he ate out every day. So we got to get some food. We got to take care of the plants. We got to get all of the bags unpacked. Maybe we'll show you some of the goodies that we picked up on our trip. And then if there's some time, I have some school prep. I want to start diving into some things that I was working on when I went to leave and whatnot. So just going to be a little bit of a reset day in the life. Now, if you're wondering if I vlogged during the trip, I sure did. I vlogged quite a bit, recorded quite a lot. So I'll put together a little bit of vlog of the trip, show you some of the things that we did. And really, I thought part of that might be sharing some of the things that I learned, things I wished I would have known before we had gone, things that I learned along the way that I'm kind of like putting back as information for if we decide to go again or if our family decides to go again. Because there was a lot that I just, especially like in England and in Paris, like I didn't know a lot of the stuff. And our tour guide was amazing about teaching us about local customs and local culture and the best way to get around here and there. And I don't know, it was a fantastic experience. But when you've been gone from home for 10 days and you're a homebody like me, you just get really excited to be back. So anyways, and I'm not sure, like I was really tempted to like just hop in the shower and get all of the grime off last night, but I ended up just I decided I was too awake when I got home to just go to sleep. So I just kind of worked on some things for a little bit. And now I don't know. I don't know if I should shower and then go out and garden and then shower again, or if I should just go ahead and get all the things done and then get cleaned up. I don't know. You know what we're going to do? We're going to drink this cup of inadequate American coffee because I have been spoiled by European coffee for the last 10 days. And then we'll just figure it out and take you along for the ride today.
Hey Loki, Mama's home. Hi, sweet baby. What are you doing sleeping in the roses? They're all thorny. Silly boos.
Okay, coming over to the cut flower. Wow. I think I may cut some of this amaranth and start drying it this week for sure. And look at all the snapdragons that were blooming while I was gone. Oh, I am gonna have to do a cut flower arrangement for sure. Same thing with the zinnias. Oh my goodness. Hi babies, Mama missed you. Oh guys, we're gonna do some bouquets today for sure. Look at this. This is called like the Queenie Lime. Isn't that pretty? And then this is a different version of amaranth. It's a different color. I have a pumpkin trying to travel, so I think I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna trim out a bunch of this because it's starting to come in here. We have a dahlia bloom. We have a dahlia bloom. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Oh, I'm so excited. Look at that beauty. Oh, and other ones are starting to get ready to bloom. I mean, like I said, weeding, and then we need to get this vining garden under control a bit here, guys. Okay, so this is turning into a bigger job than I expected. So you guys see all along here, all of these pumpkin vines were kind of coming up and into the raised bed. So I trimmed off a whole bunch of runners. I've got a stack here. There's a cat. I got a stack over there. I've got a stack on the far side. It does not hurt the plant to trim off the runners. I mean, you can see just finding good cutting points. They'll heal over and they'll be fine. And in fact, if your plant sends out runners this late in the season, it can actually be beneficial because it'll allow it to send more energy into the fruit it's already got growing. Ooh, got a big pumpkin there. Look at that beast. That's a polar bear pumpkin. It's so huge. There are plenty of pumpkins in here. I have been finding them right and left, but I did a whole bunch of trimming out there. Some of the runners had teeny tiny pumpkins going, but they won't develop before harvest season all the way. And then I trimmed out some that was like choking off this cantaloupe here. I don't know. I think my other cantaloupe might be a loss because it's totally buried at this point. We got another big pumpkin forming there. And then I did try to dive in and make sure that like my butternut squasher
still gonna make it because I really wanted to harvest butternut squash, and they are still doing okay. They're rocking and rolling. Okay, I'm about an hour into weeding, and it's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I've got piles of weeds everywhere, so I'll just show you real quick here. So when I'm doing big weeding projects, I'll just start stacks of them as I'm pulling. Like this area, you guys remember, this is not meant to be like a, you know, a cultivated fancy garden. It was just things that I thought pollinators would like. I wanted to see how they'd grow, but I did weed pretty decently. I think I'm gonna try to put down mulch this week around them. And then I trimmed back a bunch of the things that needed to be deadheaded really bad. Oop, I still got that one to do, but that will help. I mean, like I took some things down pretty severely, but that will give it a chance to do a jump start and do some new growth. And under the sunflowers, I mean, you can see there's still quite a bit weed wise under there. I'm not that worried about weeding terribly underneath sunflowers. I mean, I'm going to be cutting these guys for cut flowers anyways. But I did go through the amaranth and I cut 2 big stacks like this. So these can be dried. You'll see they have these thick kind of woody stems. So you can hang these upside down and dry them, and they will stay this red color, and then they can be turned into wreaths or displays for the fall. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take these up to the porch, and today I'll work on getting them hung up so they can start to dry. Loki has been supervising me all morning, haven't you? It's been a very good supervisor. But I will have a ton of them, and then it's going to continue to push out new growth. And what I'll probably do then is, like, the next time I cut back, I'll cut long stalks to dry, and then I'll use those more for like indoor dried floral arrangements. There's another stack there. And then I had one pumpkin plant over here that was looking kind of sad, and the garden sitter had told me it was looking kind of sad. She wasn't sure why. I wasn't sure why. Like, I looked over the plant itself and I couldn't see anything obvious as far as why the plant wasn't doing okay. But it did have a whole bunch of pumpkins ready to harvest. These are Casperita pumpkins. So these are like the white decorative pumpkins. And I can go ahead and clean these off and store these until we get to autumn, and then I'll use them for decorating. So I'll wash them off and let the stems kind of dry a bit. But that's fine. I mean, that's where it was, and you can obviously see there's plenty of other things there filling in the space. So now I'm gonna go around, I'm gonna get all the weeds thrown into our burn pile, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut flowers to do a flower arrangement. Have another cup of coffee, methinks, and then we will move on to the next area. Okay, so it was not my intention to harvest today, but as I was cleaning up, I realized I needed to. So I dug my hand in around some of the potato plants just to see if anything was going, and I was able to pull up a handful of potatoes. I mean, there's a ton more down there, and they will get huge, the big russet ones. And I won't do like a big harvest, you know, for a couple months, but you can pull out a few potatoes at a time early and eat them. So I thought that might be good for dinner. We had a zucchini ready. We had a whole bunch of green beans to pick. I accidentally pulled up the carrot. It was not ready, but hey, baby carrot. Anywho's, I have 2 pickling cucumber plants, and today there were 14 ready to pick. And some of these got massive, like they should have been picked a while ago, but that's okay. We'll still pickle them. The whole reason why I have them is because my daughter loves pickles. So needless to say, we might be making pickles tonight. Might be doing pickles. These little pumpkins, so these came from the Casperita, the one that wasn't looking super great, and they were ready to pull anyways. I mean, they're formed, they're firm and everything. I just need to let the stems dry. And then I had 3 slicing cucumbers. And I think that's where I'm gonna end the gardening stuff for today. I'm gonna take these inside, get them cleaned off. And when we go to the store, we'll get some wide mouth jars and the stuff we need to start pickling. So in case you're wondering what I'm doing with the amaranth, so I took that big giant pile and I took off excess leaves and trimmed the stems, and I've got them bundled together into smaller bundles. I just used zip ties, but you could use string or rubber bands or whatever. It needs to hang in a warm, dry place out of bright light for about 2 weeks to dry. So I'm gonna actually loop these up in the garage because that will stay nice and warm and dry. And They will dry and retain their color, and then I can use them to do all kinds of things. So some of the ones with like the longer stems I will probably use for like dried floral arrangements in the house. And then the smaller bundles, I plan to make some wreaths out of them to put up on the doors for the fall.
So we've got Squirt the Wonder Pup picked up from his daycare stay. He had a good time. But I'm currently pulled over on the side of the road because the weather report said a 20% chance of rain today. And it is deluging and hailing. And that was not in the forecast. So we're gonna wait for this rain to stop, or at least slow down, so we can safely get the rest of the way home. So Emma decided to make dinner for tonight. She's roasting the potatoes that we harvested, and then the zucchini. We also went and grabbed an onion and some green peppers from the garden, and she just cooked it in a little bit of olive oil with garlic, salt and pepper, added some sliced sausage, and it was a delicious, fresh summer meal. Really good. And then there's the added benefit that we grew most of this. So it was one of our goals with the garden expansion was to be able to create meals like this. So today was a great example of nothing really quite going as I planned. I mean, I did get a lot of the things done that I needed to do. Went out and I did some weeding this morning. I didn't get the whole yard weeded, but the cut flower garden and the vegetable garden, and you saw the harvest from today. And it was really nice to be able to have like a dinner that basically, with the exception of the sausage, everything was stuff that we grew. So that was really cool to be able to do that. And that was one of the goals of having, an enlarged vegetable garden, was to be able to do those kind of things. Got to the grocery store. I didn't want to bore you with seeing the regular old groceries that I got, but the sky was starting to look dark when I left the grocery store. And like I said earlier, the weather report just showed like a 20% chance of rain between like 4 and 6 p.m. And then there had been a couple alerts about possible severe weather, but again, the chance of rain remained really low. And I got home, I unloaded the groceries, and I got in the car to go pick up the dog from where he had been boarded. And it was starting to rain kind of normally. And I got onto the highway to head to the kennel, and it just started. I mean, it was just torrential downfall. And I actually, I felt my car like it was wanting to hydroplane. So I went ahead and I got off on the side of the road, and I saw a bunch of other cars doing the same thing. Because, I mean, you couldn't see anything, nothing. And, when it just rains so hard that it feels like there's a sheet of water. And I had to wait probably about 15 minutes till it was light enough that I could actually get back on the highway and go the rest of the way. And then it would periodically just start downpouring like that again. Like I got to the kennel and it wasn't raining at all. There, got the dog. We got a little bit up the road, rain and hail. So pulled over again and waited for that to pass. And then had to go pick up my son and get the rest of the way home. And when I was going into the neighborhood where he was at, I mean, there were down trees. I saw a tree that went through a fence. There were sections where the road was flooded. I mean, and it came and went just super fast, probably in the span about 20 minutes. This storm rolled through. When I got home, I did walk the yard, and fortunately we didn't have any damage, no tree limbs down or anything like that. So I think it was just that portion of town that got hit really hard, but it was a little dicey there for a minute for sure. I got back home, we did dinner and all that stuff. And the plan tonight is to try to get some of those cucumbers canned if we can. If not a huge deal, but I have all of the big quart-sized jars in the dishwasher going on a sanitation cycle. So that way I can do that and get those put together, because there were 14 of them. That was a ton. So Emma's going to have pickles for days. But part of my kind of reset after traveling, of course, is to get everything put away. So all of the laundry is done. Emma and I have done all of our laundry. We got the clothes put away, but we have, our souvenirs and things like that to put away as well. And my mom stopped by this morning and got the things I had gotten her. We had gone shopping in Paris, and I was like, well, I want to get something from Paris, like a clothing item, but I didn't want to get like a shirt that just said Paris, something that I didn't want to get something I could just order online, and or one of like the token souvenir t-shirts. So we had gone into a couple little shops and found some things. So I found a shirt for my mom. Emma bought a dress, which is super adorable. And then I got a shirt in Paris as well. And it was from this cute little store and just kind of a loose little cover up. And I bought it because I thought it was cute. And I had no idea what it said. And a very nice Frenchman in the street heard me say that. And he goes, "Show me the shirt. I'll tell you what it says." And it says, he said, "Lady of the Beach." And I was like, well, that's good. I'm glad that it says something like that. So just that's just a fun little thing from Paris. Emma and I also each got a little canvas. I mean, I know they're prints, but they're cute. So this little canvas picture, I got this one. She got one that has more like purple tones, and then I just got to find a frame to put that in. And then one of our days, we did a tour of a perfume factory in Paris. It's one that's been around for, it's like 200 years old, and they taught us all about like how perfumes are made and the job of the perfume what do they call him, like the perfumer, the guy who like comes up with the formulas. Apparently he has like all of these rules he has to follow and things like that to not ruin his nose palette. Anyways, they let us they had us sample a bunch of different perfumes, and you had the option to pick, purchase if you wanted to. So I got this little sample set of perfumes, and you'll see one's missing because Emma had one that she liked, and I can't get anything to focus on the camera today. There we go. But I got 4 different scents, and they range from ones that are kind of like a lighter, fruitier scent. There's some mild ones that have like a hint of like a spice to it, and then some floral ones. So just a good mix. And I haven't bought myself perfume in ages, so I'm kind of excited to have that one. And then Emma and I, we collect badges when we go places. We put them, because I have like a leader uniform or a leader vest, and she has hers. So we picked up badges in all of the countries we went to. Like we've got ones for Britain. We got ones at the castles that we went to. Got some, let's see, she picked out that one for London. Got a Buckingham Palace one. Found some fun little iron-ons. I found this cute little corgi pin with a little crown. That was at Westminster. They had like the most adorable little shop. And then in true homeschool mom fashion, I got books and brought those back with me. So in London, I found this book. It is An Utterly Impartial History of Britain, or 2,000 Years of Upper Class Idiots in Charge. And I thought it just sounded like fun. I thought that would be an interesting read. I mean, it's a pretty thick book for sure, but I love reading about things like that. So I thought that would be a fun one. And then when we were in Germany and we saw the castle, so you couldn't take pictures inside the castle we were in. You could take pictures of the outside, but you weren't allowed to take pictures of the inside. But they did have some really good books that tell you about the castle and the king who built it. It talks about actually 3 different palaces of his, and then it's filled with pictures from inside the castle. So I thought that was really cool. Since I couldn't take pictures of it, I can share this with the family, and then it has information about the details of it. Now, one thing that was really cool about the castle we were at is that in each room, there were all of these different painted murals, and in each room it depicted a different story of different heroes. And so they had a book called The Heroic Sagas. So it actually is the stories behind all of the different murals. So I thought that was kind of cool as well, because like one was like Tristan and Isolde was one of the rooms and stuff, but there was a different one in each room. There were particular knights. There was stories of Camelot. The throne room had a bunch of different saints and angels and things like that. And then we were in this outdoor market in Zurich. It almost looked like a big garage sale. Like people had tables and tents set up, and they were selling all kinds of really random stuff. I mean, everything from toys to shoes to clothes. I saw like there was like a vintage Swiss air suit, like a pilot suit. I mean, just all kinds of really unique stuff. But somebody had books, and then and they were in German, of course, because they speak German there. And you might recognize these books because we have this one, which is a Magic Treehouse book, and then a Geronimo Stilton book. And it was funny because my daughter and my son both read all of the Geronimo Stilton books and all of the Magic Treehouse books when they were little. And my daughter goes, Mom, we should get these for the homeschool so we can read them as part of German. And I was like, that's actually a really cool idea because you guys have probably seen that I've bought books in German in the past. I mean, I have some pretty basic books. I have like the Night Before Christmas and things like that, just so we can kind of read them and have something different than the textbook reading. And so we thought this would be really fun. In German class, we can read it and work on our translations and things like that, and just have something that's different but still kind of familiar. So those are just a couple of the souvenirs that we got. We brought home like a cheese sampler for my husband and my son because they both love cheese. We got it from a place in Munich, and so that's upstairs. And then, of course, in Switzerland, we had to get chocolate. Like, you have to get chocolate. So I brought home like chocolate bars, and then like Swiss chocolate truffles. Oh my gosh, they were so good. What else did we get? Picked up a couple of like greeting cards at the National Gallery. They have replicas of different paintings. I got a coffee mug in England, one of those at one of the Starbucks in England. Those You Are Here mugs that Starbucks does for like all of the states. Well, they also have them in the different countries. So I got the one for England because I thought that was fun. Normally, coffee mugs are actually my go-to souvenir when I go places because I use them all the time. I'm constantly switching them out with the decor and stuff each month. And so it's a practical souvenir that I'll use. And I didn't want to bring home, 4 different coffee mugs. I had limited space in my luggage as it was. So I got one. I limited myself to one. And so, yeah, it was fun. I like all of the souvenirs that we got. So I'm just going to get those guys put away. And then I'm waiting for the cans to be ready for me to go and make some pickles. So, yeah, so I got things done today, like I said, laundry and groceries and all that. But I don't know. Part of me thought today I would get into cleaning and stuff, but the garden stuff just took longer. And then there was all the harvesting, and then, like things just kind of snowballed from there. But I think that happens and we kind of have to roll with it. But it's not actually that late in the evening, but I'm definitely feeling the exhaustion kick in because, again, my body thinks it's 6 hours later than it currently is. So it's like 8 p.m. and I feel like it's 2 in the morning and I am tired. So I think I will call it a day and end the video here. I'm going to go try to get some good sleep and hopefully be working my way back into a normal schedule tomorrow. So I got to jump right back on in. I've got some lesson plans to start getting around because that's one of my big goals for July is to get that done. And then kind of get back into the swing of like all of the other housekeeping tasks. Plus, my doggo is begging for me to come back upstairs and give him some attention. I think he had a blast at daycare. They sent me pictures of him playing with the hose, said he loved playing with the other dogs, but I think he's glad to be home as well. He gave everybody a big old greeting and is now resting comfortably at the top of the stairs, waiting for me to come back up to him. So thank you so much for watching today's day in the life video. I know there wasn't much related to homeschooling in that, but I think, when we travel, right, and you get back home, it can be kind of difficult sometimes to get back into like your normal routines. You've got all of these extra tasks to do from traveling and you want to get them knocked out, but then you also want to kind of get back into your normal rhythms. And that's a little bit harder, especially when you travel across several different time zones, for sure. But hopefully you enjoyed that. Like I said, I'll have a travel blog coming up soon with some of the kind of things that I learned while traveling to Europe and some tips to share as far as if you are planning a trip there in the future, some things I wish I would have known. And then we will have more homeschooling content coming your way shortly. But thanks again for joining me today, guys. Have a good one.